Okay, I'm going to be wearing glasses today because I've got a very bad sty, okay? But I'm not going to let that hold me back because I need to let you know something and remind you of something because we do have the power to change our lives. I believe in free will because right now you could do something that you want to do and you could go away from whatever you're doing. You could break away from your job. You could do whatever you wanted to do and you could go downstairs and eat a peach. You can go downstairs and look out the window and just sit there in your thoughts. You have the power to change. So listen to me. There is a very, very famous and maybe cliche thought experiment that is the trolley. So imagine a trolley is going down a hill, okay? And it is cascading into 5 people, okay? You are by a lever in the UK, and you have the opportunity to pull that to mean that you change the direction of that trolley to go into one person and mean that they meet their fate. Do you pull that lever? The answer for me is quite obvious. I would, okay? And we need to apply this to our lives because it is so applicable to taking the risk and doing what you know you need to do. If you allowed that trolley to cascade into that group of people, you will be living in a state of regret. You will regret having not taken action. In your life, the initial action to make a change might seem scary. You don't want to exist in this moment of stress and potential uncertainty. However, that is the right thing to do. You do not want to, later in your life, have spent all of your time doing something that you don't want to do, in a job that you don't care about and you don't want, to then regret your life. Pull that lever and make a change. Okay? There was a pigeon just flapping its wings so much that it actually took me off of my trail of thought a little bit. But we have the power to make the change in our lives. Yes, it might make our current consciousness, our current state a bit more difficult. But in order to reach real fulfillment, we have to take that risk. Are you willing to do what you are doing now for the rest of your life? Are you willing to stay in this state of dissatisfaction for the rest of your life? Do you love what you're doing? If the answer is yes, then you have succeeded. If you have found so many things that you love to do, that's a brilliant existence to be part of. But there is still so many more things that you can find that you love to do. We have free will. The butterfly effect. What an amazing phenomenon, because it's so true. It is so unbelievably true. Me moving this pint glass to this position right here, that might have meant that I walk past after I pour my coffee, after I've done this video, and I knock that pint glass off the side. That means that I spend 30, 45 seconds cleaning up that glass, which therefore means that I missed the bus that I need to get on to go and meet my friends. That therefore means that I instead walk to go and meet my friends. On that walk, I end up bumping into the person that potentially changes my life and changes my perception on the world. Or it could just be the fact that I end up walking into a shop because I go past this shop and I find a t-shirt like this that I found in a charity shop that I really love. That t-shirt that I wear 2 weeks from now when I go out might get a comment from somebody who passes me by. That conversation with somebody might mean that I align with that person. I end up collaborating with them on a project. And then that might be me opening my eyes to a completely different form of expression. I might end up falling in love with that person. That might therefore mean that I learn something about, I don't know, do you understand? I could go on forever. We have the power to make a change. And any action that we, oh, it's just overwhelming. If you think about it, there's one slight thing that we can do that can drastically change the course of the future. Okay, that can form a complete chain reaction of different occurrences that will change the lives of people in Nova Scotia, in Japan. That could mean that someone actually creates or innovates something that otherwise wouldn't have happened. You peeling an orange in a slightly different way, which meant that you took an extra amount of time doing that. Therefore, when you went to the bin, that meant that a person had to move past you in a slightly different way, which meant that they got to their house at a slightly different time, and the person that was going to be at the house who they, had left at that time, which therefore meant that the post that was on the floor, they picked up, they read, they found out that the person who just left the house was in debt for £15,000. That therefore meant that they realised that person had a gambling addiction. That person then helped the person who had that and potentially saved their life. Do you understand how important it is to realise that we have control? We cannot take this life for granted. It is such an amazing experience. Another thing that this dovetails onto perfectly is the idea of a recurring life. If you were to have the exact same experience in life on repeat, how does that make you feel? How? Does that make you feel a sense of dread? Does that make you feel excited? How does that make you feel? You need to make sure that if your life were to recur on a consistent, infinite basis, like Groundhog Day, but your whole life, the whole span of your life, how does that make you feel? We need to make it so that is a beautiful, that is the biggest gift you could ever receive. The idea that you can live this life again. Yes, there's always going to be bad moments. I've been through traumatic moments, but if I were to live my life again, that would be the biggest blessing ever, because I know that I've taken control of my life and every single day I'm excited for. If you feel as though your life recurring on an infinite basis is hell, or you don't want that, then you need to change some things, because you need to make the next chapters in your life. There's plenty more chapters. There's so much growth to be made. There's so many sheds of skin that are going to be coming in future. Make the next chapters in your life the most beautiful chapters in your life. Okay? I made a video recently that I have posted about why summer 2026 is going to be the best summer of all time. And this is why. Because we are going to take control of our lives. We are going to understand that we do have free will. We are much more than working a job that we do not want to do for 65-70% of your life, maybe with overtime. That is not what we're going to do. With the hope, with the one North Star being the thing that we should already have: security and a home. If you are doing something that you don't want to do with the aim to get a mortgage and a deposit, to sign your life away, doing that very thing for the rest of your life, reconsider and check yourself, because you are checking yourself in to a life of dissatisfaction. You are accepting that you are going to be a slave. If you are doing something that you want to do, that is not being a slave. That's why it's so important to, if life is, you are working to live and you've got rent over your head every single month and your outgoings are, you found out that you're spending all of your money on alcohol, or some of the outgoings is meaning that you don't have any money to save. You need to find a way of saving a little bit of money. Cut the things out that you're spending all this money on. You don't need them, okay? You do not need them. You need to get a little bit of savings behind you. If you are struggling, if you are really hating life and hating your job, focus on being a bit frugal and saving a bit of money, quitting your job, investing in yourself, finding what you really want to do and getting off of the wheel. You do not want to be on a wheel. You do not want to be a slave to the fucking job. Oh my God, that is not success. Please understand that. You do not want to be doing something that you do not like for the rest of your life. And you've managed to save it. You've got it. You finally saved that money for a deposit. Think about it before you before you sign a contract for a house, which means that you have to be paying that for the rest of your bloody life. Please listen to me and do not sign this incredibly precious life away. You are incredible. Please listen to me. You are worth so much more than doing something that you don't want to do and conforming to the conventions that have been sold to you. If you think it's okay to sacrifice your whole life doing something that you don't want to do, that is simply, that should not be something that is respected. It simply isn't. We have been given this gift, okay? Truly, going back to the point of if we were going to be living a recurring experience, the exact same life, do you really think you're going to be working a job that you don't want to do to provide for your family that doesn't currently exist? They might exist now, yeah, but we need to think about what is actually more important, okay? Family is incredibly important. Do you not think being there for your children is more important than just providing some money? I think it is. So how's about we imagine that life is going to recur exactly the same as you have spent it already? Is that something that scares you? If it is, we need to make some changes. Because what are you working for? What are you actually working for? The prime of your life is going to be spent doing something that you hate. I have taken a risk and I am seeing life so clearly. I am taking so much interest in philosophy and realizing that what we are sold is not the only way. It's not the only way. I am going to find something. I have found so many of my passions, and if I turn that into the thing that makes me money in order to exist, that is beautiful, that is perfect. However, there are other avenues that I'm more than happy to go down, which I know I'll be able to find fulfillment. There are so many avenues that we will be able to find fulfillment in. It's not like there's only one route to fulfillment. There's so many different routes. That's why we need to try so many things. Pull that lever. Don't let it hit those 5 people. You're going to have to accept that what you have done, yes, you're still going to be directly responsible for that one person. However, you are saving 4 people. You're saving 5 people, but 4 people less. 4 less people are dying, basically. And you can apply that to your life. Think about it. Do you want to just accept this state of dissatisfaction and perpetual stress, doing something that you don't want? Or do you want to take action now so that you can live a flourishing and prosperous life for the rest of your life? This moment might be hard. Why do you think it's so difficult to start a business? It's a massive risk, but the potential rewards are incredible because you have autonomy. It's very important, people. Very, very, very important. We do not have to be doing what everyone tells us to do. If your friends think that what you're doing is wrong and they're judging you, or if anyone is judging you, it doesn't matter. You have to be steadfast. You have to be absolutely tunnel vision, blinkers on. You are going to what you want to do because you know that is what you need to do. Your gut will always know what your mind is not currently capable of dealing with or processing. If you are feeling this sense of angst frustration, stress, irritability, dread. If you're dreading work every single Sunday, if you are looking forward to the weekend so much that you're drinking on the Thursday, or you're just looking for this release or freedom, you get this kind of like artificial sense of freedom on the weekend, or you're being propped up by the idea of a holiday, that means that you're not happy. We can find happiness in our jobs. If we have found a creative outlet that we love, we have to do it. Everyone needs to find something creative. It is the way of tapping into that beautiful state of improvisation, where inspiration is falling from the clouds and we are just catching it. We are disappearing into the moment. We need to live in the moment. We really, really do. I was sitting down today and I was just in the sun having a coffee, and I was just in a state of bliss. As I've said in a previous video, in that The Sims analogy, I was there, my caffeine bar was up, my food bar was up, my social bar was up. I just bumped into someone that I knew from the past, a girl called Hannah that was an ex-girlfriend of an amazing friend of mine that I'm going to be seeing this evening. And I said, I'm always going to say hello to people that I recognise in the street. I'm not going to be like, oh, I could not do it. I'm always going to do it from this point onwards, because life is too short and I will regret not doing it. So I bumped into her. I had this really nice kind of catch up with someone that I could have not done. I could have just pretended that I didn't see her, but I didn't do it. I went outside of my comfort zone and I just said, hello, how you doing? And I've been doing this so many times. All of my bars were full and I was sitting there and I was thinking, life right now, this moment, this current moment right now is perfection because I'm living in it. I'm just being held up by this beautiful sense of peace and solace, watching the people pass me by, thoughts flooding into my head, open. Inspiration was falling and I was catching it and receiving the signal. We need to get to this position. We need to get to this state. I'm not saying I'm feeling it all the time. That's why when I notice that I'm in this spot, it's so great to just live in it and don't stimulate yourself when you're in that moment. I had another moment the other day, and I'm going to be doing so many videos about kind of like specific coincidences that I do not consider coincidences that have happened. But I had a lovely situation where I saw the opportunity and I took the opportunity. We have to be opportunists. If we see an opportunity, we have to take it. We don't know when another opportunity is going to come. I saw some people throwing an American football in the park. It was a beautiful sunny day. I love throwing American footballs. I've got a pretty good arm, I have to say. And I stood there by them and I was just waiting for one of them to maybe invite me in. And I was waiting there for about 30 seconds, just watching them throw it, just seeing, you know, like their technique and everything. And then one of them happened to turn around and see me. So I started edging towards him. I was just like, put my hands up and he threw me the ball. And then we were throwing it. He was like asking, well, yeah, do you play NFL or American football? And I was like, no. I've always just done it in the summer with my brother a lot growing up and this sort of thing. We were talking, we were throwing. I was getting really into it and encouraging it. I was like, you know, I was just getting hyped. And it's this random situation with complete strangers. Found out like their names. It was Mohammed Aboud from Jordan. They asked me my name. I said my name was Gabriel. They asked me where I was from. I said I'm actually from Brighton. This is where I currently am at the moment. I was living in London for the past 7 years. We just had a nice conversation. Someone else came over. We were throwing the ball. And this was just a random situation. I was going on a walk to meet other friends. But I was like, you know what? I don't need to be in a rush. Time and opportunities and these little moments are why we are such beautiful creatures. We can take control of time and we can live in these moments. Be open to random interactions in the street. We can learn from every single person that you walk past. You will not know everything that they know. They might have gone through things that you couldn't even have dreamed of. Do you understand? Stop reading books by their cover. I get read by my cover all the time. I can see it. But I have to accept it because I can't expect to change everyone. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to express myself and say, I have found this very kind of incredible state recently. And I'm just expressing that. I am expressing this feeling of gratitude, and it's making me feel incredible doing it. It is reinforcing and cementing this feeling. I thought after New Year's, when I started feeling like this and I had a very transformative experience, I thought that this was just going to be maybe an artificial feeling that maybe kind of simmered or petered off as time went on and time kind of like dripped and dripped, but it really, really hasn't. I'm feeling more and more present every single day that goes by. Every single video I do like this is further reinforcing the way that I'm feeling. It's making me more present. It's making me look up. It's making me think about all of the different experiences that every single person has had in the street. And I'm going to try and have conversations with these people. I'm going to try and help people when I can. If I see someone that's struggling, if I see sadness in their eyes, if I see a homeless person, that I see sadness in their eyes, I am going to go up to them, speak to them, ask them how their day is, and I am going to try and impart something that I have been through and something, and listen. I'm going to listen. That's the most important thing. Listening. Don't be stubborn. Always be open to having your mind changed. Always be excited about the thought of learning. We can learn from everyone. We can learn from everyone. Every single person in the street is something that you do not know. We don't know what anyone has been through. You don't know what I've been through. I don't know what you've been through. And that is beautiful. That's why we are interested in learning about each other. We need to be intentional. It is so beautiful. Oh my God. I can't wait to live the rest of this life. Neither should you. I say many times, people, I say it many, many times, that we need to be focused on living in this moment and not dwelling on the past. The future does not exist, okay? The past does not exist. All we have is now, and that is never, ever going to change. Our imperfections are what make us us. That is beauty. With AI advancing in the way that it is, the fallibility of humanity is going to be such a desirable trait. It's going to be such a desirable thing. Because we are going to want to see things that are intrinsically human. Videos like this, where I will be making mistakes. This is fully from the heart. We are trying to really just exist in this world with all of our imperfections. And this is why humanity is so beautiful. Our imperfections make us who we are. We're never going to be perfect. You know, I sometimes got so caught up with the idea of having like the most controlled voice, singing voice, the most kind of, I don't care anymore about my voice being the best. As long as I'm conveying an emotion, you know, as I want it to be conveyed, I don't mind if my vibrato is not perfect and the kind of the time in between each vibrato is exactly the same. I don't care about whether the note is hit to pitch perfect precision. I don't care anymore. I don't care if I tweak my voice slightly in a performance because I'm getting too into it. As long as I'm expressing myself in a way that the song requires, as long as I'm making somebody feel something, that is perfection. There are going to be some amazing singers out there. There's going to be people that, you know, and in the artistic kind of industry, or I don't know what you call it, that you are involved in. There is always going to be somebody who is going to be able to do something better than you. But it is the combination, and it is what you can bring emotively to the table. You are going to make someone be able to feel something completely different to what anyone else can do. What you can make someone feel is completely different to what someone else can do, because no one has the combination of things that you have. I've said this many times. You know, your interests, your thoughts, your genetic composition, and the way that all of that combines into your lens. Think about that. Man, when you wake up in the morning today, just remember that you are incredible. You have the power. free will. We do have free will. And as I've said in another video, I do believe in absolutes, because it's absolutely wrong to not be inquisitive. It is absolutely wrong to be stubborn and stuck and rigid in your ways and not thinking that there is another way and pathway to fulfillment. And it is absolutely wrong to not pull that lever. You need to take the risk, because there is so much more to life than doing something that you don't want to do for the whole of your life. Would you be happy living your whole exact same life on repeat again and again and again? If the answer is no, you have the power to change it. Make the next chapters of your life the best chapters of your life. You need to make that cycle at least have some pleasant areas. That end part, you've got to go through all of that struggle. You've got to go through that beginning part. If you're not happy with it so far, you know that once you have to repeat it, you go through that, but there's bloody light on the other side. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always going to be, because you're going to make sure that there is. We have the power. There is free will, and it is absolutely wrong to not believe that you can change your life, because you can. I love every single last one of you, and I'm going to continue doing these videos because I understand that I have to express the way that I'm feeling. It makes me feel so good. I've got so much pent up energy, and I'm loving life at the moment, and I feel like I'm seeing life in the way that I feel like I always should have. I should have been able to see life like this in the past, and thank you so much for listening, and I hope everything in your life kind of aligns, and that you figure out that you do have the power. I love you all. Peace out.